And when you don't sit with your own emotions,
Yeah.
when you don't know what's happening in you,
Yeah.
you don't know how to react to your child.
Yeah.
And when the child does something, you realize that the child is a dumping ground. Whatever discomfort that I have, let me just throw it on him.
So many mums write into us saying that I don't have control over my temper. I lose my shit.
Yeah.
And the child bears the brunt with a whack or sometimes abuse. And let's share with the parents that abuse is not only in the form of physical abuse but also verbal and emotional abuse.
I'm sorry to say, but I'm sorry to cut you, but silent treatment is one of those.
Okay.
Silent treatment is one of the biggest abuse that you're doing to your kid. And you don't know how it's kind of breaking your child.
Right.
Because the only thing that the child is learning right now is from the primary caregiver.
Yeah.
And when the child sees that whenever there is some kind of a discomfort that I've done to my parent, my mom just builds wall.
Yeah.
And that's when the child learns.
Yes.
So when the child grows up into an adult, the child learns that if my partner says something which is discomforting to me, I'll stop talking.
Mm-hmm.
So you see where it's coming from?
Yes, yes. There's so much of our childhood that actually gets reflected in our parenthood. And I also feel that, I don't know if there's a terminology for this, but I also feel there's this new form of abuse which is lack of presence, right? Like, I know that you feel that you're with your child, but you're absent. Because, I was just recently on a flight back from Indore, and there was the cutest kid, and he was just sitting, on the other side of the aisle. And he was maybe all of 1.5, and he wasn't even asking for the phone. But the mother was just, and I don't mean to judge, but I just want to say that all the child needed was not that phone. While he was looking into it, he was just still looking here and there for somebody to get his attention. And then, I started sort of playing with him on the flight. And then he was literally like the seat ahead of me was playing with him, the seat behind me was playing. And he was just a very happy child. And that, or even if you see in elevators, right? The kids are trying to figure out, and there's not one human in the elevator that actually looks the child in the eye.
Yeah.
Even if it's a child in the pram or child in the car. And I just feel this lack of human interaction is just a different form of abuse, because this child is just feeling like nobody is interested in me. And I don't know how that feeling is. Like, he doesn't know how to smile or coo back or react because nobody's ever done that with him.
Yeah.
So how are we going to raise a generation of more conscious parents who are aware that their actions is causing so much harm to their child that's actually irreversible?
Yeah. So what you said was beautifully summed up. It's called conscious parenting, where parents are becoming extremely conscious of their actions.
Yes.
Which also means that becoming aware of their own emotion.
Yeah.
One of the drawbacks that we see is parents not being aware of their own emotion.
Yes.
They try to lose their temper.
Yeah.
Now, for a mother who maybe must have had a lack of sleep,
Yeah.
a bad sleep,
Yeah.
or must be going through some kind of a physical discomfort
Yeah.
today, maybe experiencing a headache, as
Yeah.
passe as that.
Yeah.
Okay. Or might have had some kind of an argument or a discomforting conversation.
Or something's just stressing out at work.
Simple as
Yeah.
that. And when you don't sit with your own emotions, when you don't know what's happening in you,
Yeah.
you don't know how to react to your child.
Yeah.
And when the child does something, you realize that the child is a dumping ground. Whatever discomfort that I have, let me just throw it on him.
Yeah.
Right? So a lot of times, like in my family, I have my nephews and everyone, I often speak with them. That suppose if my nephew is crying, I'd be like, tell me, it's okay to cry, but tell me what's happening. Okay, sit with me, tell me what is it. I mean, discuss with me. That's
Right.
the point. So when you give them the space, when you give them that opportunity,
Right.
the point is no one's giving them the opportunity.
Yeah.
That's the point. Because imagine you, if no one gives you any they want
Importance.
importance
Yeah.
or opportunity to even discuss something or
Yeah.
ask for your opinion, you'd be like, am I even
You need
important?
it. Yeah. Am I even needed? And I always feel like when, parents get angry or they lose their shit or it's something that's stressing out at work, this is what I typically tell parents is that you know, you're always coming from something that you're battling within.
Yes.
It's your own inadequacies that you're rubbing off on somebody else. And I tell them to sit with it. Even if it's just the bathroom, just sit with it.
Yeah.
Resolve it in your head. And then go back and, you know, come and share out of and parent out of a more fulfilled version of you than coming from a place of lack. It could even be like you had a really heated conversation at work, and you know and I see this very often, which is a lot of parents, they're like walking into homes after work, and they're still on the call, or they're like, hey, and you know, they're just going like this, and then they quietly go off into the room. And I just feel like that is the worst thing that you can do, because that child has been waiting, or that spouse has been waiting for you for all day.
Absolutely.
And it's the worst thing that you can do, because you know, it's just not that same amount or
It's so
same energy.
transactional.
Yeah, it's so transactional and not equal energy exchange, right?
Yeah.
And I always keep telling parents that, or families that, you know, just wait outside the door, finish that call. Finish it in the parking lot. Sit in your car, finish that call. And when you ring, just before you ring that bell, kind of take that deep breath, switch on the switches,
Yeah.
and then just walk in with full energy of the next role that you're going to play.
100%.
Because then you're just, that energy exchange is just so different versus that, hey, like, you know, it just like bugs me so much. And imagine as an adult, I'm not somebody who appreciates that. So I'm sure the child has no way, like you mentioned, no way to process that, and he feels insignificant at that moment. And he's obviously feeling that work or the call or everything else is more important in the priority list. So I'm assuming he's processing it very, very differently.
For parenting tips, celebrity interviews, recipes, conversations with experts, DIYs, and lots more. Subscribe to Kids Talk Press now.